Okay, so what have we done? We have kind of done all those reactions just by aldehydes and ketones. They were showing similar kind of properties because of the C double bond O, which is the carbonyl group which is present in both the aldehydes and ketones. And we also discussed that the ketones, they are going to be slightly less reactive with respect to aldehydes due to two reasons. One which was the inductive effect, and the second one which was the steric hindrance offered by the bulkier groups, that is the methyl groups. Now today we are going to do certain reactions in which aldehydes and ketones, they are going to be different from one another, or these are also taken as tests to distinguish between aldehydes and ketones. Okay, so let's see what are these reactions. This is the second type of reactions which we are doing. So in this, reactions in which aldehydes and ketones differ from one another. Okay, so over here the first kind of reactions which we are going to do, these are the oxidation reactions. Now oxidation reactions, it is seen that when we are talking of aldehydes, the aldehydes, they behave as strong reducing agents, or in other words we can say that they can easily get oxidized to acids. So the normal reaction which we are taking over here for an aldehyde, and if you are taking any oxidizing agent over here, this is going to get converted into the respective carboxylic acid, right? Now it is seen that because of the strong reducing nature of the aldehydes, even very mild oxidizing agents, for example if we are taking Tollens reagent, or we are taking Fehling solution, or we are taking Bendix reagent, all these, they are going to be easily reduced. But in case of ketones, as ketones are not very strong strong reducing agents, therefore they are unable to reduce all these mild reagents which is Tollens reagent. So these are three tests which we are going to conduct over here, which are going to distinguish between the aldehydes and the ketones. It will be seen that whenever we are reacting all these three reagents, they will very easily react with the aldehydes, but they will not react with the ketones, or ketones, they are not going to react with all these mild oxidizing agents. So the first one which we are going to do over here, that is reduction of Tollens reagent. Tollens reagent is a very mild oxidizing agent, right? So that can be easily reduced by aldehydes. First of all, what is Tollens reagent? Tollens reagent is ammonical solution of silver nitrate. Okay? It is the ammonical solution of silver nitrate. So it is seen that whenever we are reacting Tollens reagent with aldehyde, we are going to get a silver lining on the inner side of the tube. Therefore, this test is also known as the silver mirror test, which is only going to be given by aldehydes, and the ketones, they do not give this test. So what is generally happening over here, that whenever we are reacting aldehyde with the Tollens reagent, which can be taken as silver oxide. So if we are looking at the reactions, first of all let's see how the Tollens reagent that is going to be formed. So we have 2AgNO3 plus 2NH4OH to give us Ag2O, NH4NO3 and plus water. So this is the first reaction which is taking place in order to prepare the Tollens reagent. Now the Ag2O, which is formed in the first step, and plus we are going to react this with ammonium hydroxide to produce a molecule solution of silver, which is going to be known as the Tollens reagent, and the formula for Tollens reagent is NH3 whole twice OH. This is the Tollens reagent, ठीक है, and plus water. Okay, so if we're taking the ionic solution or the ionic reaction of Tollens reagent with an aldehyde, let's see what we are going to get over here. We've taken an aldehyde as a sample, RCHO, plus we are going to react it with a molecule solution of silver. This is the molecule solution of silver, the reaction that is going to take place in presence of alkaline media. And we will see that we are going to get a silver lining on the inner side of the test tube, which is going to give us a confirmation that the sample which is given to us, that is going to be what? It is going to be an aldehyde. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे the aldehyde that is going to be converted to RCOO negative, right? And plus we will get over here ammonia and water. ठीक है? So this is going to be the reaction. Now when we are talking of ketones, as I just said that the ketones, they are not going to react over here. Now if there is a double bond which is present inside any or in any compound, that double bond that is unhindered by reacting it with Tollens reagent, like for example if we have CH3CH double bond CH-CHO, if this is the kind of compound which we have over here and we subject it to Tollens reagent, in this case the double bond that is not going to be affected. Okay, and the aldehyde group that is going to be converted to the respective carboxylic acid. In a similar manner, we have another type of solution which is known as the Fehling solution. So the next reaction which we are going to do, that is reduction of Fehling solution. Reduction of Fehling solution. Here also this test will not be given by the ketones. Over here when aldehydes they are reacted with Fehling solution, we get a reddish brown precipitate, and that reddish brown color that is going to confirm the presence of aldehyde group present in the compound. Now what is this Fehling solution? We have two types of Fehling solution. The first one, that is Fehling solution A. Fehling solution A, that is nothing but it is a dilute solution of copper sulfate which is blue in color. It is going to be a dilute solution of copper sulfate. Whereas Fehling solution B, when we are talking of Fehling solution B, that is an alkaline solution of sodium potassium tartrate. It is an alkaline solution of sodium potassium tartrate, more commonly known as the Rochelle salt. Okay, so Fehling solution B, that is also known as Rochelle salt. Let's just see the formula of both. Alright, so when we're talking of Fehling solution A, as I just said that Fehling solution A, that is a dilute solution of copper sulfate. This is going to react with sodium hydroxide to give us copper hydroxide plus Na2SO4. Okay, now this copper hydroxide which is formed in the first equation, that is going to react with sodium potassium tartrate, or which is known as the Rochelle salt, which has the following formula. So we have over here OH. This is what your sodium potassium tartrate is, right? Now this is going to give us a deep blue solution of a very complex compound over here with the formula copper over here, that is going to give us OCHCOONA and OCHCOOK. So this is a deep blue solution which we are going to get over here. This bond is between both the carbons, okay, not oxygens. Right? So it is basically the reaction between the Cu2 positive, the Cu2 positive that is going to be blue in color. So Cu2 positive के साथ जो reaction होगा, that is going to give us a reddish brown precipitate. So the aldehyde, that is the ionic equation when we are talking of, it will react with Cu2 positive in presence of an alkali 3OH negative to give us a reddish precipitate of cuprous oxide. Okay, so we have over here RCOO negative plus 2Cu positive, right? This is the reddish precipitate which we are going to get, and plus 2H2O. So this reddish precipitate, that is going to confirm to us the presence of aldehydic group which is present. Again I will say that this is not going to give us the test for ketones. ठीक है? Next हमारे पास आ गया reduction of Benedict solution. Next one, that is reduction of Benedict solution. Now basically what is Benedict solution? It is a solution of copper sulfate plus sodium citrate and sodium carbonate. ठीक है? Copper sulfate, sodium citrate and sodium carbonate. Now over here also there are two solutions. The first solution, that is going to be alkaline solution of potassium or sodium citrate. So we have over here solution 1, which is a solution of alkaline solution of sodium or potassium citrate. ठीक है? And solution 2, which is a solution of copper sulfate. Right? So now how the reaction that is going to take place? The first reaction is going to be same as we had done in the Fehling solution. Copper sulfate, that is going to react with sodium hydroxide to give us copper hydroxide plus Na2SO4. Okay. Now what is going to be our first solution, potassium or sodium citrate? So this copper hydroxide which is going to be present, that will react with the following compound. This is sodium citrate. Okay, so over here also we are going to get a very complex compound which is blue colored. Complex. So if we are looking at the ionic equation of this blue colored complex, that is going to get converted into what? Into a reddish color complex, and that is going to give us what? That is going to give us the conformation of the aldehyde group which is present. So this blue colored complex formed by the combination of this, if it is giving us a reddish brown complex of Cu2O, that means that the presence of aldehyde group that is going to be present. So this is how oxidation of aldehydes can take place. But oxidation of ketones, that is going to be different than aldehydes. So let's see how the oxidation of ketones will occur. Okay, so let's go on to the oxidation of ketones. Now when we are talking of oxidation of ketones, the ketones, you know that in the carbonyl compound, they do not have any hydrogen which is present, right? So hence they cannot be oxidized by weak oxidizing agents. These are going to be oxidized by only strong oxidizing agents like potassium dichromate, right, or KMnO4. Okay, now over here ketones, they are going to be oxidized to their respective acids. So if we're taking, let's say we are taking CH3COCH3, the first member of the ketonic family which is acetone, and we are oxidizing this in presence of K2Cr2O7 in acidic medium. This is going to give us CH3COOH plus carbon dioxide and plus water. Okay, in a similar manner, if we are having an unsymmetrical ketone, that is going to give us a mixture of acids, okay? And that is going to be governed with the help of a rule which is known as the Popoff's rule. So let's explain what is Popoff's rule by taking an example over here. Right? According to the Popoff's rule, the carbonyl group will always stay with the smaller carbon chain. So we're looking at this compound over here. On this side of ketonic group, there are 3 carbon atoms present, and on this side there is only 1 carbon atom present. So the cleavage of the bond is going to take place from here such that the carbonyl carbon that will remain with the smaller group. So we are going to get a mixture of acids over here. We will get CH3, CH2, COOH plus CH3, COOH. So this is what Popoff's rule is. The ketonic group will always remain with the smaller chain. Is it clear? So let's take another example over here. If we're doing the oxidation of this is where the cleavage is going to take place. So we're going to get a mixture of acids, CH3, CH2, CH2, COOH plus CH3, CH2 and COOH. Is it clear? Then we have another kind of oxidation for ketones which is known as Baeyer-Villiger oxidation. Baeyer-Villiger oxidation. Now aliphatic ketones, they undergo oxidation with the help of an oxidizing agent which is known as Carrot's acid. Carrot's acid is H2S2O5, right? This is what, H2SO5. This is going to be the Carrot's acid. So oxidation that can take place in presence of Carrot acid, or it can take place in presence of perbenzoic acid. Another oxidizing agent is perbenzoic acid, and we can use another one, metachlorobenzoic acid. In this case, esters will be formed. beta-chlorobenzoic acid. So these are the oxidizing agents which are present, and we are going to get the respective ester over here. So we have a ketone of the type in presence of any of the above oxidizing agents. This is going to give us RCOR. Okay? So we're going to get, in case of unsymmetrical ketones, if present, the preference of insertion of oxygen atom is going to be in between carbonide atom and alkyl group in decreasing order, right? So if there are unsymmetrical ketones, तो decreasing order क्या हो गया कि hydrogen that is going to be given the maximum preference, ठीक है? फिर उसके बाद we have C6H5, उसके बाद we have 3 degree which group is there, 3 degree alkyl, and then after that 2 degree, and then after that 1 degree. So let's understand this by taking an example over here. So यहाँ पे हमारे पास है, अगर suppose we are taking C6H5 C double bond O CH3. So you can see on one side there's a phenyl group present, on the other side there's an alkyl group present. ठीक है? अब जब इसकी हम ऑक्सीडेशन करते हैं, तो according to this rule, the oxygen that is going to be placed there where the following order is followed. So C6H5 is given preference over 1 degree. Right? So the ester which is going to be formed over here is CH3 C double bond O C6H5. Phenyl group is going to be given preference. ठीक है? Is it clear? So this is what our Beer-Villiger oxidation that is going to be. Right? Then we have the second reaction over here. This we've done oxidation. Let's go on to the second reaction in which aldehydes and ketones, they are going to be different. So the second test which we have, that is the Skiff's test. Right? Now what is the Skiff's reagent? What is Skiff's reagent? It is a dilute solution of dilute solution of para-rosa-aniline hydrochloride. Para-rosa-aniline hydrochloride whose red color has been discharged. By passing sulfur dioxide gas. Initially the color of Skiff's reagent that is red, but we discharge the red color by passing it through sulfur dioxide, and when it is passed or when it is reacted again with aldehydes. So what do these aldehydes do? These aldehydes, they recover the red color. Ketones, they are not able to do so. So basically the Skiff's reagent is para-rosa-aniline hydrochloride, which is red in color. So we discharge the red color by passing it through sulfur dioxide, and then again if we are reacting with aldehydes, the color of Skiff's reagent will again become red. Okay, and ketones, they are not able to give this test, right? Then the next reaction, the third reaction which we have, that is reaction with ammonia. We've already done this reaction. Except formaldehyde, it is seen that other aldehydes, they are going to form addition products. The ketones, they do not undergo this reaction. So we're taking RCHO, okay, plus HNH2 in presence of ether. This is going to give us RCHNO. NH2 and OH. This is aldehydic ammonia. Right? This is known as aldehyde ammonia, and this test will not be given by ketones. Neither formaldehyde gives this test. This is the same kind as we had done the addition of ammonia and its derivatives and followed by loss of water. The same mechanism is going to be followed over here. Right? This hydrogen that is going to attack on this and this NH2 is going to attack on this. So that is the product which you are getting. Then this is going to lose a water molecule minus H2O to give us RCH double bond NH, which is aldehyde. So this is the same reaction which we have already done, right? And ketones over here, they are going to give us ketonic amines rather than giving us aldehydic amines. So this is the same kind of reaction which we have already done, right? Then we come to another very important reaction over here, which is very common in your boards. That is known as the Cannizzaro reaction. Cannizzaro reaction. Now, we've already studied that all those compounds which do not have alpha hydrogen, they do not undergo aldol condensation. This we had done. Whether it is formaldehyde or it is benzaldehyde, these are not going to undergo aldol condensation until and unless they react with certain other compound which has an alpha hydrogen. For example, we did yesterday, benzaldehyde and formaldehyde, they are reacted, that undergoes aldol condensation. But if you are taking two molecules of formaldehyde, they will not undergo aldol condensation. Okay, so over here, Cannizzaro reaction that is specifically for those compounds which do not have alpha hydrogen. So if we are taking two formaldehydes, so let's write down for those compounds which do not have alpha हाइड्रोजन, ठीक है? So यहाँ पे अगर हमारे पास है HCHO, this is going to react with an alkali. So we are reacting it with NaOH. We can also do it with KOH. The concentration of NaOH which we are taking over here is a 50% solution of sodium hydroxide. We can get only two compounds over here. One is going to be an alcohol and one is going to be a salt of sodium. So the compounds are going to be HCOONA plus CH3OH. Okay? Or if we have 2C6H5CHO, we are taking benzaldehyde. Plus again we are taking over here 50% solution of NaOH. So we are going to get benzyl alcohol. One is going to be alcohol and the other one that is going to be in salt of sodium. COONA, sodium benzoate. So this is benzyl alcohol and this is sodium benzoate. Okay, so for that matter, even if we are taking a tertiary aldehyde like this, you can see over here, this is the alpha carbon atom, this has no hydrogen. So this can also undergo Cannizzaro reaction. We will take two molecules of this, reacted with 50% NaOH. So one alcohol, we are going to get this is a 3-degree alcohol which we are, it's a 1 degree of course, but branched alcohol which we are getting over here, and in a similar manner we are going to get a salt of, so the mechanism in all these reactions that is going to be same. Okay? So this is what Cannizzaro reaction is. Cannizzaro reaction उसी के लिए है where there is going to be no alpha hydrogen present. There may also, now this is known as self-Cannizzaro reaction because we are reacting two similar molecules. But we can also react two different molecules, that will be known as cross-Cannizzaro reaction. So let's take an example of cross-Cannizzaro reaction. Cross-Cannizzaro reaction, we are taking an example between benzaldehyde and formaldehyde. Remember that the bigger group will always form the alcohol and the smaller that is going to form the salt of sodium. So we have over here C6H5 CHO plus HCHO plus NaOH. So C6H5 CH2OH, right? And plus we are going to get over here HCOONA. The larger one that is always going to form aldehyde, alcohol, and the smaller one that will always form the HCOONA. Got it? So this is all about this aldehydes and ketones. We are just left with 2-3 name reactions. There's a Tishenko reaction which is not in your NCERT but NEET के syllabus में है. So we will be doing this tomorrow, and tomorrow we finish with aldehydes and ketones and then we start with carboxylic acids. Okay?